Hello everyone and welcome to a game here on Rune Mall between Blade and Lin Guagua. Not quite sure why the peasants... Oh, wait, what? There we go. Alright, a 15-second not moving? Yeah. All right, so Blade is going to be very much behind here. We were at the 15-second mark before those units even started moving. Altar of Storms, Burrow. Let's take a look at the gold. 13,250 versus 13,340. Yo, so yeah, a very, very big difference in the amount of gold mined, at least in the early stages of the game, as Blade, well, maybe asleep at the wheel or had alt-tabbed out of WarCraft 3, well, climbing uphill in this match against Lin Guagua. Now, first time here casting a game on this particular version of Rune Mall. We're looking at, well, a level 4, level 3 creep camp relatively close nearby. That seems like the obvious first creep camp. And then moving on to this green creep camp here would give your heroes level 2. You could try and militia clear this 544 creep camp off to the north. The militia do last just a little bit longer now. So with that, it may actually make sense to try and militia clear out that shop off to the north. Meanwhile, we are looking at, well, Farseer first, and this is a Farseer with no barracks and no voodoo lounge, no war mill. Well, there's the war mill for support, and I would think that war mill is mainly there just for upgrades, as there's no production buildings yet. All right, there's that tech to tier 2 already started. 12 workers tech to tier 2. Farseer now about to make its way out onto the battlefield. Mountain King first, and you're gonna see a big difference on when the heroes make their way out onto the battlefield. There's the Farseer. Meanwhile, Mountain King still needs quite a bit of time before it makes its way out here. The timing of this may actually throw off Lin Guagua just a little bit. He's perhaps expecting the Mountain King to be at a certain point on the map earlier, and now he's going to see the Mountain King just get there, and, well, these creeps are not going to be as low on hit points. All right, Tuskar Trapper, Wing of Superiority, picking up the item there. Meanwhile, Militia trying to go after those Spirit Wolves. Spirit Wolves could easily get taken down. 1 or 2 more shots, down to 21 hit points, as the Spirit Wolf does end up getting denied. All right. Mammoth is going to get taken out easily. Mountain King with a Ring of Superiority first on the board with experience, as the Spirit Wolves here are going to perhaps try and get resummoned. No bonus experience or easy experience for that Mountain King at all. There's the resummoning of the Wolves. Farseer are going to try and place down pressure, as we're looking at the Arcane Tower not nearly done. We saw a 15-second or 12-second difference in the opening portion of the game, as this Arcane Tower, well, may end up getting canceled, or will need at least some repairs in order to stay alive. Meanwhile, the Farseer is looking to retreat back. Mountain King does have the ever-present threat of a Stormbolt, as the Farseer, well, trying to test the waters and that range of that Mountain King. Coming back around, Arcane Tower quickly, well, still doing a good job fending things off. May need to get some repairs going, as the Militia now head off to the north, perhaps going for the Laboratory and trying to give level 2 to that Mountain King. Farseer, however, back at home, we already seen tech to tier 2 is done. Grunts are getting trained up, and what is going on? Clearing all the way off to the north here. The Expo is very far away, and that's exactly what Blade is trying to do. He's called a bunch of militia over, and he wants to expand. Meanwhile, the Arcane Tower here has completely feed back the Farseer. No more Spirit Wolves. More peasants will need to be trained, and it looks like this Expo off to the north will end up being established. Rune Mall's Expo is a rather far distance. I wasn't expecting him to try an Expo, but that extra 2 seconds of militia timing perhaps making a big enough difference here. Do we need a little bit more gold before the Expo starts? No, it needs a little bit more lumber, as, well, lumber is the issue now. All right, even setting up a lumber mill off to the north could change things as well. There we are getting up to that town hall, and then perhaps building some additional buildings here to try and protect those peasants on that gold mine line. Tech to tier 2 done. Tauren Chieftain nearly out on the battlefield. We are going into a Bestiary and a Tauren Totem. We're going to be looking at, well, Spirit Walkers and perhaps Raiders in this next segment of the game. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing that Blade is still going to be holding on to Footmen as we are still at Tier 1, even though we're at the 5-minute, 30-second mark of this game here, and the Town Hall off to the north nearly established. Hero level is an advantage currently for Blade, but I believe that Lin Guagua is going to be shifting, or is now shifting into Hero's experience, perhaps getting level 2 on that Farseer and Tauren Chieftain in the next 2 minutes or minute and a half. Meanwhile, Mountain King desperately wants to get to level 3 as that stronger Stormbolt has much better returns overall. Claws of Attack +5. We're going to be looking at some engagement here. And then Voidwalker, Shaman, and Ice Troll. All of those getting cleaned up now. All right. More units getting cleaned up. Farseer, Lightning Shield, applying some bonus damage. Who's going to get the experience? I think the Farseer accidentally killed something with a Lightning Shield, thereby denying that little bit of experience that he would have gained. So, slight misstep there. Tauren Chieftain now sitting nearly at level 2. Mountain King sitting at level 3 opted to go for Bash instead of Thunderclap. Straight for a Bash onto the Tuskar Sorcerer. Quickly taking it down. Crystal Paul should be sold, and then perhaps picking up another useful item as the Polar Bear and Tuskar Trapper here will get finished off too. Meanwhile, off to the north, Tauren Chieftain just shy or will be shy of level 2. Nope, Farseer purposely backing away to give all the experience to the Tauren Chieftain. There you have it, finishing off the Renegade Wizard and this Enforcer. Farseer sitting at 2 here. Tauren Chieftain now the one with a little bit more experience, also having or had dual pendants of energy. That is going to be a lot of shockwave damage that perhaps wasn't originally expected or accounted for. All right, Tauren Chieftain going to try and shockwave. There you are, getting in some damage. There's some chain lightning as well. More bouncing around. Tauren Chieftain is just still waiting, perhaps trying to rack up a little bit of damage here. There's another shockwave taking down some peasants, and that Tauren Chieftain is still looking strong. All right. We're going to look at some more shockwaves, perhaps trying to line up and target more units. That Tauren Chieftain could get in a little bit more damage. Is he trying to get that? Yes, there's some more peasants getting taken down, and the Tauren Chieftain still has enough mana for a round or two, or another round of shockwave. That is going to be the big question here. There's another shockwave. Every peasant pretty much getting taken down as we finally see the Tauren Chieftain getting storm bolted and the Arcane Tower removing that last bit of mana. Now, could you imagine how powerful that shockwave would have been if it was the level 2 variety from the straight start of that battle? I believe those towers perhaps couldn't have even have survived, as the shockwave would have whittled it away quickly. All right. Farseer looking to back up. Tauren Chieftain, 455 mana, maximum mana capacity. The downside is, well, the Tauren Chieftain's intelligence is so low that natural mana regeneration is going to be, quite slow in trying to replenish all of that mana there. There's some Spirit Link. Tauren Chieftain going to try and engage. There's the Spirit Walkers going into ethereal form. Stormbolt onto a Spirit Walker who is now down to 2 hit points as the Mountain King, unable to chase him down now. All right, Mountain King still going after some units. There's a Stormbolt onto the Farseer. Farseer could be in a little bit of trouble trying to break free here. Farseer does have a Scroll of Town Portal, instead putting pressure back onto the Mountain King. Is the Mountain King going to be forced to retreat back? There's a Stormbolt action onto the Farseer, but Farseer using that Scroll of Town Portal in a time for that temporary invulnerability. All right, little bit of clarity, little bit of healing. Tauren Chieftain perhaps going to drop those potions of mana, pop it, and then pick it back up. Already up to 287 mana now. Healing Salve also being used. Tauren Chieftain, oddly enough, not using a Clarity Potion, but is back up to 300 mana. And that should be extremely helpful. There's that Clarity Potion finally being used now. Clarity Potion up to 320 mana, should be up to 400 here in just a second, and with that much mana could be able to get off multiple shockwaves quickly. All right, 388 mana. Here we are. Here we go. Are we going to be lining up some shockwaves? Yes, we are. Footman quickly getting ensnared. That's going to get taken down. Farseer, Spirit Lake. Farseer still sitting at level 2, remember. Tauren Chieftain going to line things up. There's that shockwave, and it rips on through all of those peasants there. Beautiful, beautiful chain wave across the board as the Arcane Vault also, or could easily get taken down. Spirit Link, Stormbolt, Chain, or Shockwave now hitting through. Low hit point low hit point Mountain King finally taken down. Level 3 on the Farseer. Is he going to go for level 2 Chain Lightning? Or level 2 Wolves? That's the question. It is going to be level 2 Wolves over that level 2 Chain Lightning, even though the Tauren Chieftain has been softening up targets so much with that Shockwave. It is an important point to note, though, that Blade is transitioning into Spellbreakers, and that's the last thing you want to see is, well, you have very powerful spells and no targets to really use them on. Tauren Chieftain trying to get into position here, perhaps going to, well, take down this Altar of Kings, already down to 600 some odd hit points, and I believe Pillage has been researched, and we're going to be going after some of these buildings now. Mountain King trying to lead the charge here. There's a Stormbolt onto a Raider. Mountain King trying to finish off that Raider. That Raider going to get taken down. Scroll of Healing units trying to retreat away again. There's some Spirit Link. Mountain King could get off a Stormbolt onto the Tauren Chieftain. More arcane damage coming across from those Spellbreakers. There's a Shockwave to try to rip through, and there goes another Priest again. Mountain King does also have a Potion of Invulnerability, may be forced to use it. Stormbolt onto the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability as well. He's trying to break free from this position. This could be a tough spot to be in. Mountain King's, well, Bash getting in right there. There goes another Peasant, and both sides losing units pretty quickly as the Tauren Chieftain does have a Scroll of Town Portal and now backs away. Archmage did opt to go for Brilliance Aura first. Mountain King now retreating back off to the north. Expo by Lin Guagua is operational. Meanwhile, this Expo operational as well as Blade changes the positioning of his Arcane Towers to try and not allow 2-for-1 deals on those Shockwaves. Coming through, Tauren Chieftain once again up to, well, 255 mana. Should already be at max. Going to go ahead and transfer those pendants and now have plenty of mana again ready to go. What's going on here? Up to 455 mana. Farseer now trying to push himself across here as well. And is the Spellbreaker transition going to be enough to deal with this 455 mana level 2 Shockwave Tauren Chieftain? Mountain King quickly gets a Stormbolt off on the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain trying to back away. He's also absorbing a little bit of damage, getting slowed up a little bit. Are we going to see some Shockwaves? Yes, trying to hit that back line, but the Priest able to shake it off. Tauren Chieftain now needs the Scroll of Town Portal transferred over. Is he going to survive? Yes, he does at 4 hit points. Barely surviving there. That was a rather close engagement. The Tauren Chieftain a little bit worse for wear, and will need some time to get back into the action. Yeah, Rune Mall, a little bit of a new, yeah, definitely a new map. It kind of reminds me of like a snow map before snow is applied. That's what it feels like, right? It's not just snow everywhere. It's right in position and still very, very nice. Anyways, Tossmaster going to get taken out. Magnetar Reaver also here. Farseer sitting at level 3. Tauren Chieftain is sitting at level 4 with some powerful items and also a Potion of Greater Healing to be able to survive that front line spot a bit longer. 1/1 upgrade on those Headhunters. We should be looking at the Berserker upgrade now as well, giving them back up to 475. I think it's going to be 475 hit points. Yeah. Giving them increased hit points, and that Berserk ability. I know that they increased the Headhunters hit points from 350 to 375. They didn't clearly mention the Berserker, but I would assume that the Berserker upgrade still gives 100 here. Yep, there we are. There we go. Mountain King trying to back away. Cloak of Flames right there. Tauren Chieftain needs to back out. Doesn't want to take all that damage from those Spellbreakers, as we should be looking at perhaps some Shockwave trying to reach that backline spot. Spellbreakers, there you are. There's some damage onto those units. There's Chain Lightning back going around, and that's still not going to be enough, as the Mountain King now using the Scroll of Town Portal in order to get away. Are we going to see the shockwave? Yes, we do see the shockwave hit the Archmage, but the Archmage still able to teleport away in time. That Spirit Link being stolen from the Orc army, perhaps how it got saved. I would have normally thought that the level 2 shockwave would have been enough damage, but the Archmage does have Spirit Link, courtesy of the Spellbreaker's Steel. Yeah, a lot of close calls, a lot of good plays as the Tauren Chieftain now sits at level 4. Well, still with a very, very large cache of mana. Meanwhile, where's the Farseer? Farseer is the one that needs to get to level 4 to get level 2 Chain Lightning. And instead, well, the Tauren Chieftain is the one getting all the creeping. Kodo Beast trying to digest a Spellbreaker here, but, well, not going to be able to get it as his friends come to the rescue. Archmage now sitting at level 3, opting for level 2 Blizzard as the Tauren Chieftain is in trouble again. He does have a Ring of the Archmagi, but not going to be able to do much here. Potion of Greater Healing used. Mountain King could be in trouble. Potion of Invulnerability used. Archmage now in trouble, down to 26 hit points. He gets taken down. Shockwave thrown at the Archmage as the Tauren Chieftain now sits at level 5, but no longer has a partner in crime to try and work together with. Farseer now back out onto the battlefield here. There's an engagement. Farseer does use a Potion of Mana. There's a Shockwave. There's a Chain Lightning, and Mountain King does get taken out. Mountain King falls at level 5. Farseer at level 4 here. Level 2 Chain Lightning. Mountain King resurrected here. Is he going to get enough mana? That is a question as the Archmage tries to retreat away. Tauren Chieftain down to 166 hit points. He's trying to get away quickly. Mountain King going to be coming back across. Who's going to get the kill as the units are just battling up on top of each other? Archmage falls at level 5 or level 3, and Tauren Chieftain falls at level 5 as Taurens are now on the battlefield as well, perhaps using that Pulverize effectively. Or do we see Envenom Spears? No, we do not. Spellbreakers still trying to engage here. The Taurens could easily start pulverizing the ground to maximize their damage, AoE normal damage against these Spellbreakers who are rather weak against them. Rifleman now joining in on the fight here. This could be a tough spot as the Tauren are trying to fight their way through. Dual Wind Riders. Are we going to see enough Pulverize? There is a little bit of healing. Units are now trying to retreat back as the Farseer and the Mountain King are just going blow for blow. Mountain King down to 75. Is he going to be able to Stormbolt that Farseer? Farseer, yes, does get taken down. Mountain King now in a little bit of trouble. He has no easy way out as the units are trying to battle it up. Tauren unable to catch up here as the Spellbreakers covering a little bit of that protection and that escape. A little bit of damage. Down goes a Priest as well. One Wind Rider getting shot down by a Rifleman as the Mountain King looks to get a lucky bash in on a Tauren. If he can get enough mana, should be able to launch a Stormbolt or just get enough damage onto that Tauren here. All right, do the Spirit Walkers have mastery training? They do. He's going to go back and resurrect that Tauren and get that, hero back in play. I always find the animation and the resurrection of the Tauren unit a little bit delayed, right? You see the Tauren get back up off of the corpse, and then like 4 seconds later, there's this giant glowing light around them. It feels like that should happen first. Anyways, Mountain King, the one now nearly level 7, a lot of heroes fallen back and forth on both sides. Tauren Chieftain nearly resurrected, sitting at 5.8. So we know how strong and scary a Tauren Chieftain is resurrected as it comes back with full mana. But on top of that, this Tauren Chieftain already has north of 500 mana to begin with. So that just is going to be a bit more scary as the Tauren Chieftain here using a Clarity Potion, a Potion of Mana, and now picking all of those Rings of the Archmagi and other things back up. Scroll of Healing also being transferred to that Tauren Chieftain, getting in a little bit more healing. So important across this entire army. Lin Guagua sitting at nearly 60 supply, Blade sitting at 70 supply, and both players are, going to be vying for this last gold mine here momentarily. I'm wondering about the positioning of this gold mine. This gold mine is very difficult to defend as there's 3 ways onto this gold mine here. Main gold mines have 11 minutes and 9 minutes of mining left. And a lot can happen during these final minutes here as players are trying to get into position. All right. Mountain King gonna spot this very, very wide open, undefended expo. Repairs are underway. Blizzard not lining up in the right spot. And what are all of these peons doing? They're just trying to keep the building alive, knowing that riflemen and spellbreakers are not very efficient at taking down these buildings. Meanwhile, Tauren Chieftain has gotten to level 6 here and is now taking down this farm. We could be looking at perhaps just trying to get gold off of the, off of all of the pillage. Are we going to see the keep fall? And then, yes, there's a shockwave ripping through Tauren Chieftain. A little bit of damage going all the way around there. Off to the north, though, the expo was in fact taken out. So, well, there is 2 minutes of mining left off of the main base, and well, 8 minutes of mining left off to the north. The howling, that little wolf howl right there for a second made me think that one of my daughters were crying for us. I'm like, wait, is that my daughter? No, okay. I know you're eating. I would have been talking about your younger sister. My daughter in the background is like, I'm not crying, I'm eating, Dad. I'm like, I know. I know you're eating. I can clearly hear that. Coming through, tiny Great Hall, resetting up a lost base there. One of the benefits of Tier 3 Orc, tiny Great Hall. Coming back around here, Archmage looking to get to level 4. Gonna get closer, but gonna be just a bit shy, I think. Come on, yeah, just a bit shy. 29 experience more. Mountain King with that Cloak of Flames. Able to do quite a bit. Meanwhile, the Farseer, yeah, it almost feels like the Tauren Chieftain can just use Chain Lightning and Shockwave and simply take down all of those units right there. All right, there goes an ensnare onto the Mountain King, trying to create a little bit of separation from that lead Mountain King's Stormbolt and everyone else. All right, Tauren in that front spot. We're going to see some Blizzard now rain down. There goes a Stormbolt onto the Farseer. Farseer could be in trouble. Are we going to see the engagement? Farseer not trying to back away. Does have a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Uses it already and now going to turn back around. All right, there's a Chain Lightning going across that backline position. There's a Shockwave, and you can see how suddenly all of that damage can really rack up. Are we going to see another round of Chain Wave go? Farseer needs to get into position, but we saw another Scroll of Healing being used off to the north. There's a Resurrection. There's a Chain Wave. There's Chain Lightning bouncing around. Farseer still needs a little bit of time as the Tauren Chieftain is in that front line spot. We're going to get another Shockwave to try and push pressure onto that backline position again as the Mountain King is sitting at level 7. All of these units are just trying to hide around every which way. Are we going to see some more Chain Lightning? There we are. Tauren Chieftain, is he going to Shockwave his way through some more of these units? Not quite sure why he isn't Shockwaving. There goes a Shockwave, but one of the Riflemen actually able to stay alive as the Spellbreakers are slowly getting taken down. All right, Tauren Chieftain has enough for perhaps one more Shockwave as there goes another standing Shockwave, and there goes the Tauren Chieftain. Resurrection, level 6. Farseer falls at level 5. That's going to be bad news here. Farseer falls at level 4. Are we going to see a Shockwave rip through? Yes, we are. Trying to take down more units again. 35 supply compared to 57 as the Tauren Chieftain looks to back up. Could turn around, Shockwave once more, perhaps pick off another easy low hit point unit in the backfield. There goes a Sorceress again as the Tauren Chieftain is currently out of mana, but Brilliance or a level 2 gonna quickly make up for that and get another Stormbolt down onto the Tauren Chieftain. More Blizzard raining down. Spirit Walkers taking quite a bit of damage as the Rifleman able to share some of that damage here. Tauren Chieftain may end up falling down to 26 hit points, 27 hit points, trying to get away. Cloak of Flames. Tauren Chieftain ends up falling at level 6. And, well, no reincarnation. Or, no, yeah. No ultimate ability as it was on cooldown here. I think that may be it. Blade, even though he had given his opponent a 10-second advantage during the early portion of the game, able to outlast against his opponent here. 28 supply compared to 60. We are looking at gold still being mined off to the north. No gold being mined in the southern spot, though, as we're resurrecting the Farseer the old-fashioned way. Tauren Chieftain has sold his pendants of energy, realizing that they're not going to be as helpful any longer. And now ready to move out onto the battlefield here. He should perhaps have picked up a potion of mana, though. As the Tauren Chieftain now ready to lead the charge. All right, 2 minutes on that cooldown, on that ultimate ability. Meanwhile, Mountain King able to put pressure on this Expo here. And with Guagua losing this last Expo, I believe that goes all of the chances of him to stay in this game, as more Blizzard now raining down and destroying all chances and hopes here. Tauren Chieftain comes back across, trying to go after some of these workers. We're going to see another shockwave. There you are, pretty much taking down all of the peasants. This one peasant, wow, he must have been the lucky peasant there. He's just mining gold, and based on the timing and the walking, he never got hit by a shockwave. He'd go in the gold mine, come out and look at all of his friends, and they're like, wow, you look kind of sick. You kind of look low on hit points. What happened? Goes inside the gold mine again, comes back out, and they're all on the ground dead from that shockwave, from those subsequent shockwaves. All right, Berserker gonna get cleaned up here. Tauren Chieftain needs another 70 seconds or so in order for that reincarnation to work. There's a chain lightning bouncing around. Tauren Chieftain could try and turn around, get a shockwave, does get a shockwave down, but things are not looking good. Scroll of Speed now being used. Farseer gets up to level 5. Stormbolt onto the Farseer. Farseer, is he going to use a Scroll of Town Portal? Yes, he is. Going to just try and buy seconds, perhaps for that Tauren Chieftain to be able to stay alive a little while longer. Back inside the base here, playing a little bit close home. Farseer, Potion of Healing, is going to be able to use it in time. No, that Stormbolt stun lasted just long enough, and that will be the game. Without the Farseer, the Tauren Chieftain just doesn't have enough damage to finish off that backline and try and tip things in favor of him. Let's take a look at the final scores, shall we? All right, Blade pretty much winning in every single category, even though he had that late start. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.